Welcome to The Reality Check with Charles Butler. We are broadcasting live and getting ready to, it's out there streaming live on, what's it called, YouTube. And hope you guys, hope you enjoy the show. We're going to have Michael Lett on with us today. You know, I was, today, you know, when you wake up, you never know what's going to happen. I can't not believe that the DA in Manhattan said that he's not going to prosecute certain kind of crimes. You can commit crimes with a gun. As long as you don't kill anyone, he's not going to put you in jail. You know, George Soros needs to come and live with these people. I mean, George Soros, I don't understand how he's still in this country. I don't understand why charges haven't been brought against this guy. I guess he just has too much money to be prosecuted. I guess he has too much money to be held accountable for what he's doing to this country. But the DA in New York has said, well, guess what? If you commit a crime, we're not going to, we're not going to prosecute you if you don't, if you're black and you use a gun. Now, if you're white and use a gun, it may be a little different. But if you're black and use a gun, we're gonna make sure that we put you back on the street, put you back in the neighborhood. You know, the negativity, these policies impact Black Americans and Black America more than anyone else. And these policies have always precluded and interfered with us pursuing the American dream. I've said that time and time again. I don't know about you all, but I remember police not policing in our neighborhood. And that's what happens in these Black communities. The police don't police, and they don't police like they police in white neighborhoods. So you get these Black criminals who act out, who think that they're important, who think that they actually run neighborhoods and that they actually have territory. That's the scary thing. You know, instead of police going in here and cracking these people's heads and taking back and making the neighborhood safe for the people, they allow gangs to exist. Oh, you have territory. No, you don't have any territory. You don't have anything. And they should make that known, but it's not to their advantage to do that. So what do? They participate in the graft and the crime. New York has been historically participated in graft, crime, and other forms of policing that hasn't been very advantageous to Americans, especially in Harlem and places like that. You know, when the Jews had Harlem ran well. Why was that? Hey, look, we're going to take a short break. I'm going to get Mike Letts on with us, and we'll be right back. We'll talk about why the difference in policing in these different areas. Okay?
This is Dan Perkins, co-host of Black and White, and this message is for the 200 million of you who have taken the COVID-19 shots. If you haven't taken the shot, don't waste your time. I'll get to you later. We need boosters because of the effectiveness of your original shot is deteriorating. The CDC tells us that you can get the Delta virus even with the original shot, and perhaps even with the third. You have to decide to get the third shot. It's your call. Think about this right now. While you're listening to this message, about 6% of Americans that have the vaccine are getting sick. You could be next. The CDC believes a low immune system may be the cause. So even if you get the third shot, you need to protect yourself and strengthen your immune system immediately. I have a great all-natural way to do this. Go to blacksandwhites.us website and click on the CV Acute bottle to have it on hand. If you wake up with flu symptoms, take CV Acute 3 times a day for 3 days and you're done. Don't wait until you get sick to buy this great tested product. It could be too late. Buy it now. Have it on standby. Go to blacksandwhites.us and buy it now. Arm yourself to fight off this virus. Do it now.
Hi, this is Charles Butler, the host of the radio show, The Reality Check with Charles Butler. At Asset Benefits, we provide our clients with the rates and benefits from over 20 top-rated life insurance companies. We make you informed decision makers about final expense, mortgage protection, and securing your family's financial stability with the loss of a loved one. Hey, don't wait. Pick up the phone and call 312-667-9111 for your free quote and evaluation. So don't leave your family in a financial crisis because of a failure to plan for financial needs. Please call us for a free analysis and quote at 312-667-9111. Thank you.
Okay, let's get back to this topic that we're focusing on here, and that is the new Manhattan DA. And this is in the Manhattan borough, not the other boroughs, just Manhattan, not the other 4 boroughs. But this guy, Alvin Bragg, he needs his butt whipped, is what he needs. He doesn't need to be bragging about anything. This is horrible. It's horrendous that he will not pursue fair beating, resisting arrest by police officers, other nonviolent, non-felony charges, angering the cop union. The cop union is one thing. What about the people? Hello? What about the people? Do you know what this does to the people? I mean, these criminals think they can get away with, and in New York, this is the other thing about New York. You can't even arm yourself in New York to protect yourself. You can't arm yourself to protect yourself. So, what's going on? I wouldn't want to go to New York. I wouldn't want to live in New York. You can't protect yourself from criminals. It kind of reminds me of the 70s. I remember when I first started going to New York as a young man, and people would say, well, if a guy comes up, man, and asks you for your wallet, just give it to him. I'm like, dude, I'm from Detroit. I'm not giving anybody anything. Little did I know how the system works against you. Little did I know how, I was trained to be a man. You stand up for yourself. You stand up for your rights. These people are saying you don't have any rights. The criminals have rights. You can't protect. You can't be a man and protect yourself. It's because we have all these effing wimps in society today. After the Civil War, the white men were getting soft. So something was created to toughen them up, to give them some toughness and some hardness and some competitive spirit. Do you know what that was? It's called football. That's the reason for football. It was created to toughen white guys up after the Civil War because they got soft. True story. Look it up. History of football. Look up the reason for football. Anyway, this guy, Alvin Bragg, he's a former federal prosecutor. And he was sworn into office on the 1st. And he's the first Black DA in Manhattan. He told his staff not to bother with many cases of fair beating, resisting arrest, and other nonviolent crimes, and a move toward fulfilling his campaign promise of criminal justice reform. It's not criminal justice reform. It's turning the criminals loose on the people. Criminal justice reform. No, obey the law. Dialing back prosecution. Here we go. Dialing back prosecution. See, join the new Kurt Russell movie, Escape from. They talk about the new Escape from New York. Now they're saying Escape from I-95. Man, people are cold, I tell you, they're cold. But these policy changes not only will in of themselves make us safer, says this guy. He said they also will free up prosecutorial resources to focus on violent crime. He's lying. I can tell you one thing. I'm not going to New York. I'm not going to New York. I'm not going to San Francisco until they clean those cities up, because I know I will probably get a case. So there's no sense in me going somewhere where I know that I will probably get a case because I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to let anybody hurt me or some criminal take my wallet or harass me. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I'm just not wired that way. So here we have these folks who think that, that we're all sissies. Hey, man. Let's see. I sent him an email. Sent you an email. Okay. Email link. Okay, cool. Got it. Okay. So, but he's saying, okay, well, we're going to free up. We're going to free up the that's not right. So we're going to free up the resources so that we can enforce the law. I don't see that happening, and no one else does either. I think that New York is going to be a very unsafe place to live. It's a very dangerous place to live. So that's what we're dealing with here. They go on to say that this guy is emboldening the criminal element to resist arrest and put the NYPD police officers and detectives in harm's way. Because I'm not going to prosecute resisting arrest. Okay. Well, we're just going to have to get more violent with these arrests, twist some arms, break some shoulders, break some wrists. Police officers don't want to be sent out to enforce laws that the district attorney won't prosecute. And there are already too many people who believe they can commit crimes, resist arrest, interfere with police officers, and face zero consequences. That's true. That's true. It has to stop. Mayor Adams, he's a former cop. He seemed willing to give Bragg the benefit of the doubt for now. I mean, he's going to try it out for a minute, but if it's not working, I can guarantee you Adams will stop it. He said, I have a lot of respect for DA Bragg because he's an elected official too. Okay. It's not like Adams chose Bragg to work for him. Bragg was elected on his own by the people. Okay. So he is accountable to the people also. But I think that the mayor will step in and say, hey, dude, you need to rethink this, and you need to get busy. You need to put some people in jail. Say we're all going to come together and wear one jersey. Team Safe New York. Okay. We'll see. The mayor doubled down on that praise Tuesday night after a violent scene at a Brooklyn dollar store where an armed robber fired at two responding police officers and was shot by one of the cops during the struggle. Good. Good. One of Bragg's instructions tells his prosecutors to pursue petty larceny charges, a misdemeanor against suspects initially charged with armed robbery in a commercial setting, provided they didn't create a genuine risk of physical harm. So let's deal with this for a second. So Bragg says one of his instructions to his prosecutors is to pursue petty larceny charges, a misdemeanor, against suspects initially charged with armed robbery. So they have a gun, they're committing a robbery, but you're going to charge them with a misdemeanor and call it petty larceny. So the more serious offense you're committing, the lesser the charge under this DA. He said, unless, of course, it created a genuine risk of physical harm. Well, anytime a criminal has a gun, there's a genuine risk of physical harm. Or is it just me? And here he is on TV. Said, don't seek jail for most crimes. DA won't seek jail for most crimes. I hope they burn his ass up. I hope his family pays the price for these dumbass policies that he's put in place, because a lot of people are going to get hurt by these policies. A lot of people are going to pay the price the ultimate price for these policies being put in place. The older people are going to be attacked, and old people like myself, even, we're going to be attacked. We're going to be judged, and it has to stop. Because I can tell you right now, I'm not going to New York. I'm not catching a case, because I am going to fight back, and I'm going to fight back very, very aggressively. And I'm going to fight back using every means necessary. We have on with us Mr. Michael Lett. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. My apologies, Charles. That last interview ran over a few minutes.
Yeah, more than a few minutes, man. You tell the guys you got to see Charles Butler. I got to go. Okay. Hey,
Finally got off.
hey, look. What I'm talking about right now is DA Briggs, and it's like you wake up every morning and the world gets crazier and crazier. I couldn't believe, like, they started running this story about 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning. And the more I got into it, I just couldn't believe that this grown man, who's a former federal prosecutor, said, wait a minute. We're going to take serious crimes. We're taking an armed robbery, and we're going to make it petty larceny instead of armed robbery in a commercial establishment, unless, of course, it created a genuine risk of physical harm. Now, who's supposed to determine if this is a genuine risk of physical harm when a guy has a gun in your face?
Well, look at what they're attempting to do, and they're doing a very, very good job of it, unfortunately.
What's that?
They are sending a strong message across America to the criminal element. There is no penalty for crime. You can do what you want, get by with it any point in time, pay no penalty, and now they're expanding it. You remember this started out in California. We're going to have shoplifting redefined, so anything under $1,000 is a misdemeanor. We're not even going to write a ticket. You're not even going to be arrested for it. Now look at how it's grown. It's grown from that perspective and continues to make it so pretty much for too much longer, you have to knock somebody off as long as it's justified, as long as they were a pain in the neck. You did society a good deed by getting rid of them. There won't be any consequence of it. That's what happens when you allow the liberal left Marxist regimes to begin to take power.
Well, but this is about destabilizing neighborhoods. This is about destabilizing areas. This is about destabilizing. Can you imagine? Like, I'm 69 years old, and I don't feel it. I don't look it. But I saw a guy yesterday in Chicago get beat down, and they said an elderly senior was beaten. An elderly senior man, 69, was beaten, and these two guys beat him, man. I mean, they beat him, they kicked him in the head. I mean, it was interesting. And see, I always carry a gun because I'm not fighting. I'm not trying to fight 2 or 3 guys. I don't have anything to prove. I'm just gonna shoot your ass. And
Right.
and like I said, so in New York, citizens there, residents in New York, can't protect themselves because the politicians are more concerned about saving a criminal's life than they are saving and protecting a law-abiding citizen's life. This is the kind of craziness that has persisted in the Black community for the last 100 years. See, people don't really want to deal with the fact that during the Harlem Renaissance, the Jewish and the Irish mafia invaded the Black community. They put heroin in the Black community. They put marijuana in the Black community. Gambling and prostitution. That was allowed to flourish in Harlem, where it didn't flourish in any place else in the open. But they let it go in Harlem because that's where the jigaboos were. See, and that's what they call Black folks, jigaboos. So, I get all this, but the point is, somebody has this, and this is the other thing. Any Black organization that tried to stop the prostitution and the drugs and the homosexuality, they were prosecuted. They were, and I'm gonna tell you who the guy was who tried to stop it, and who the establishment railed against and called him a vigilante, called him out of touch, called him a despot, was Bishop Adam Clayton Powell Sr. Adam Clayton Powell's father. He was the one who cleaned Harlem up and took and demanded that these people. So homosexuality was rampant, man. Women walking around looking like men, men walking around looking like women. It was totally messed up because the Black family and the Black structure had been so violated in this country. See, what nobody wants to talk about, Mike, what nobody wants to talk about when we talk about the oppression of Black folks, we talk about the oppression of Black folks. They don't want to talk about the sexuality that was involved in all of this, the raping not only of women but girls and boys by these white men. Nobody wants to talk about that, though. And Black people don't want to talk about it. It's like these Black ministers who are. I just have no respect for Black ministers for the most part in the Black church. I remember going to Richmond, Virginia. This was in the early 2000s, and the white politicians wanted to honor and put a historical marker in the town square for of the slave market, and so we won't forget the slave market.
Right.
Who talked them out of it? Who protested? Black ministers. We need to forget about this. Nobody asked these dumb Negroes what they thought. They're ignorant, dumb, self-serving people, and whether you go from Martin Luther King all the way to your country store bumpkin, these are self-serving, uneducated, not strategic people. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents on that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
You know how to use an issue to drum up financial support and to stir up trouble, and that's why they're so hesitant. They want history to be taught and how it best benefits their cause, to be able to stir up racial divide and be able to cause people to want to give money to someone, an organization, to a group that would help fix this.
The past. And I'm looking at, I don't care about the past. I'm trying to make money today. I'm trying to participate in today. Every time I hear Barack Obama or these Democrats talk about training programs, Barack Obama has never done a damn thing in his life. He's never managed a damn thing in his life. He is a charlatan at best, and he needs to come clean about his sexuality. The other thing about this man that ticks me off and these other Democrat politics is they always talk about training programs. You'd never hear Republicans talking about training programs. Why?
Well, you don't.
Because we know that if I want you to be a cop, I'm not going to put you in a third party training program to be a law enforcement officer. I'm going to put you in the Chicago Police Department or the Orlando Police Department or the Pittsburgh Police Department and Academy to be a cop. I'm not going to send you to a police training academy that's generic. Not going to happen. If I want you to be a plumber or an electrician, I'm going to train you on the job generally, because you can't learn that sitting in no damn classroom.
Correct.
You cannot learn to work on a car sitting in the classroom reading a damn book.
But then you take away their source of revenue. They want to be that third party so that they can get rich.
Well, not only do they may not get rich, but they have a nice lifestyle. And the only person, and I watch my family, I watch members of my family totally devastated because they participated in these and see, my mother was a depression baby. She came up during the Depression. So she had this affinity for government, and she had this affinity for FDR, and thought he was so great. And she and I and my father, we used to get in some brutal arguments about the New Deal policies and FDR. And I kept saying, but FDR was a racist. He kept Black folks out of the New Deal programs. And my father, well, he let Blacks participate in the 333. I said, that's only after Eleanor made him do it. I said, if it weren't for Eleanor Roosevelt, I said, this guy was a blatant racist. I remember when the war broke out, he said, World War II broke out, he said, well, the darkies can play in bands on the ships, because he had been the Secretary of the Navy. We're going to put Blacks playing in bands on the ships, and our boys will have music on it. I mean, this guy was so whacked out I mean, when you're talking about a guy who's totally out of touch with the people, who's supposed to be for the pin, his grandfatherly chats, his nightside chat, and he just sold all that to the American people, and it was beautiful, right?
Right.
But when you break it down, and when I broke it down, because my parents were very into history and politics, even though, and this is the beauty of this thing, even though neither one of them had much of an education. Mom had an 8th grade education. Dad claimed he had a 5th grade education, but he grew up in the South. He had to work. He had to help his mom raise kids. And see, when we talk about access to education, the emphasis of that has been taken away, especially with the construct of busing and taking our children out of our neighborhoods and busing them into hostile environments where they're not wanted, they're not welcome, they're not embraced in any sense of the imagination. I mean, I remember going to high school, and when my teachers thought that I was bussed in instead of going to the school originally, right. I mean, they were hostile as hell, because they thought that I was bussed in. I remember a teacher telling me, and this is a good looking teacher too. I got to look at my old yearbook, but she was a good looking teacher. She used to say to me, "Butch, there's white girls that you're chasing. They won't go out with you." Well, yeah, they would go out with me, and they did go out with me. I just didn't parade it in school, because it wasn't too cool to be going out with white girls, or a white girl to be going out with a black guy in those days. So it was none of her business what I was doing, but she was trying to tell me, this is a teacher, grown ass teacher, trying to tell me that basically I should not be trying to date white women, even though I would have liked to have dated her because she was a good looking white woman. But true story, man. I'm looking at her face and I'm just thinking, I mean, but those are some of the experiences, man, that we've had. And getting back to this guy, this DA, I mean, resisting arrest, you're not going to prosecute resisting arrest. So you know what these cops need to do? They need to break a couple of shoulders. They need to break a couple of elbows. They need to break a couple of wrists. You're going to resist? Okay. They're not going to prosecute you, but you're not getting away without this broken wrist.
Right. That'll send a clear, strong message that will change the course, the direction of the country, quite frankly.
What will? Elaborate on that for me, Michael.
If we make sure that we send the message to the criminal element, you will be suffering consequences. As you said, we got to break a few wrists here or that or the other to get things, to send a strong message that there is a penalty to crime. Criminals speak to each other very quickly, and they react quickly.
And they're very smart. They're very smart people.
They're very smart people.
And they get it. And so that's why when I run into the criminal element out here, and I do often, because they always say I act like a white boy. I speak like a white boy. But what they don't understand is that white boys like me are people who lead men into combat. White boys like me are people who lead football teams. I was a quarterback in high school. So I'm a leader of men. And they don't get that. They think that because I'm reserved and I have some class and I'm not ghetto, that somehow I'm not black enough. Well, see, I'm more than black. I'm the black like Thurgood Marshall. I'm the black like Paul Robeson. I'm the black man like Adam Clayton Powell. I'm the black man like Malcolm X. I could care less about any of the, like Martin Luther King, any of these punk ass, what I consider punk people, Barack Obama, punk ass. They're not black men to me. They may be black males. And see, and that's the thing. When we start talking about this whole thing, when we get into males and men, when you and I look at a male, we see a man who we respect, or we see a dude who's just a dude. He's nothing to us. He's there. But we see a guy where we have an affinity. Like if you and I were together, we got a bond. You and I gonna hit it off. We gonna grab a hot dog. We gonna grab a steak. You know, we gonna grab a Coke, a soda, a cup of coffee, and we'll have a great time because we're two dudes. You know,
Exactly.
but another guy may come up and you just know he ain't a dude. He ain't with it. He is not one of us. You know.
You know, it's getting harder to find good dudes out there nowadays.
Well, you know, that's because a lot of guys, but it's coming back. And Michael, I don't know if you see this, but I see more and more guys standing up and being real men, standing up and being.
It's starting that trend. I will agree with that. It is started. We got a ways to go.
And I think a lot of that started with Donald Trump.
It did. It did. No question.
Because I remember, man, when Christmas time would come, I would be so pissed when people go, happy holidays, happy holidays. And I'd go, you know, no, Merry Christmas, ma'am, or Merry Christmas, sir. I don't say happy holidays. Or if it's after Christmas, and I'll say Happy New Year and Happy Holidays, something like that. But never before Christmas would I say Happy Holidays. So, and people would go, well, I don't know if I can really say that, you know, it's America. You can say what you want to say. It's America.
It's America. We're the land of the free still, even to this day. And if you can't express yourself freely, then you have given up on the hopes and dreams of generations for you.
Well, Mike, I'm gonna take a short break. We're gonna take a short break here for short commercial break. But I just want to, when I come back, I want to share with you what happened to me in terms of censoring in the town of good old Chicago, where people were self-censoring. Okay, we'll be right back.
This is Dan Perkins, co-host of Black and White, and this message is for the 200 million of you who have taken the COVID-19 shots. If you haven't taken the shot, don't waste your time. I'll get to you later. We need boosters because the effectiveness of your original shot is deteriorating. The CDC tells us that you can get the Delta virus even with the original shot, and perhaps even with the third. You have to decide to get the third shot. It's your call. Think about this right now. While you're listening to this message, about 6% of Americans that have the vaccine are getting sick. You could be next. The CDC believes a low immune system may be the cause. So even if you get the third shot, you need to protect yourself and strengthen your immune system immediately. I have a great all-natural way to do this. Go to blacksandwhites.us website and click on the CV Acute bottle to have it on hand. If you wake up with flu symptoms, take CV Acute 3 times a day for 3 days and you're done. Don't wait until you get sick to buy this great tested product. It could be too late. Buy it now. Have it on standby. Go to blacksandwhites.us and buy it now. Arm yourself to fight off this virus. Do it now.
Okay, we're coming back and we are with Mr. Michael Lett. Hey, Michael, you represent an organization that buys bulletproof vests, up-to-date vests, high-tech vests for law enforcement officers. Would you tell us where we can go to contribute to your effort?
Please, they go to Invest USA. That's INVEST USA.org. It's a charity.org. And there'll be a plethora of things you can do. You can make a donation to make sure an officer is protected, can come home safely to his family. You can be involved with just simply expressing your appreciation and support for our first responders. And you can make a difference in changing the morale across this country and making America the land once again of law and justice versus the law of anarchy and chaos.
Well, you know, one of the things that I was telling you, the self-censoring, when I got to Chicago, people would say to me, I talk about the mayor, right? Some of the things that the mayor was doing. And these were Black people who were kind of movers and shakers in the city. And they would say to me, they would talk like this: you can't say that about the mayor. You can't talk that way about the mayor. What? I'm like, what? What are you talking? Well, you just can't say that about the mayor. What are you talking about? Man don't mean nothing to me. I mean, the guy is a crook. The guy's not doing anything in the Black community. He's letting crime run rampant in the Black. But what are you talking? And these are Black folks who are supposed to be out taking care of the city, taking care of Black folks. And that's why everything's all screwed up. And until we get people like me in position, but see, they don't want to include people like me in government. They don't want to include people like me in organizations. And why? Because I get things done.
Exactly.
I'm not a compromiser. I don't compromise. I do Black and white. A friend of mine asked me last night, she said, well, don't you believe in grays? I said, so if you're in the gray area, are you right or wrong? Are you finished or you beginning? You never know because it's gray.
Good point.
Is
Very
that
good.
is that a good point?
Yes, it is. Very good.
So people always want to talk about gray. Well, you know, you have to play in the grays. That's because you don't want to make any commitments. You don't want to do the right thing.
Yeah, they're looking for the easy way out.
And there is no easy way out. At least in my life, there's been no easy way out, man. It's been black and white, and that's okay. I'm not complaining. I'm not, I'm not doing the little, Charles. No, I'm not doing that. But, I've taken my lumps because of my stances. And like right now, one of the things that I want to do, Mike, and I'm going to run this by you, and I don't know how you feel about it. We got a few minutes here.
Sure.
But in Chicago, one of the things that I've thought about and I think about is that the city needs to say, okay, we're going to go block by block. There are a lot of block clubs in Chicago, people who
Right.
take care of block. And the reason they formed these block clubs was because the police wouldn't enforce the law. Like, so when you come down these people's street playing music loud, they already had a sign at the beginning of the block. No loud music, no trash thrown out, blah, 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 blah. So they already let you know that you're being watched. So my thing is, let's take that to the next level. Let's get these block clubs some training in weapons. Let's get them some training in communications. So we get them with shotguns. We get them with primarily shotguns. I wouldn't say AR 15 or AK 47, but a shotgun. And the reason I say shotgun is because, we're shooting for when a car is coming down the street, shooting in the houses. An AR 15 is something that you got to pick up and you got to look through you got to look through the sights and aim it. And, it's kind of a complicated weapon to use. And when you're trying to engage in these situations, for most people, most law-abiding people, they don't want to shoot anybody. They don't want to be shot. But with a shotgun, all you do is point and pull the trigger.
That's correct. A shotgun is what I recommend to people all the time. Because
Shotgun.
rifle, an assault rifle, even quite frankly, a sidearm, a pistol. You need to make sure you know exactly how to use it and you can hit dead on or get yourself a shotgun.
You know what? But you know what, Mike? You're not going to hit dead on it, even unless you are in the military where you go out and actually try to shoot people. That's why law enforcement officers, like the guy who shot at Michael Brown, he shot 12 times. He hit Michael 5, I think. Well, the reason is because psychologically, he didn't really want to kill Michael. He just wanted to slow him down. And people don't want to kill. In the military, it's different. You have a different mindset. You go out to actually terminate somebody. Yeah.
Correct.
So, and so my point is, getting back to these block clubs who have guns and radios, they take out these people and they police their blocks. So when these people are driving down the street shooting the folks' homes, by the time you get to the end of the block, boom, boom, boom. Now,
you're right.
Now we have to understand. They have to understand. We don't want to have a circle jerk here where where you're shooting at each other across. So people have to be trained. They have to understand where to shoot, how to shoot, and when to shoot. Okay, but that comes through training. And I think that if we implement a plan like that and policies like that, all of this random shooting goes away. There was a lady who was shot in the head. She was sitting in a parked car, minding her own business, got shot in the head by someone. We don't know.
And it was one of those situations like you're describing. They used either a sidearm or a long range rifle, missed the target, caused some collateral damage instead. Tragic.
Yeah. But this situation, it was on purpose that they shot her. And then, we have all the share ride people who are being attacked. I wasn't even aware of the share ride people being attacked until a couple of days ago. I read about one share ride guy being attacked in Chicago. And what happened was he had three guys in his vehicle, and some people started shooting at him. and he's trying to get away, and he gets away from them, and the guys are like, drive fast. So when they stop, his passengers beat him up.
Oh my goodness.
And then
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You think you heard it all until another day comes out, don't you? Then you hear something totally new that is just mind blowing.
It's mind-boggling, but it's real, and that's the part that's really mind-boggling. Is this stuff is real, Mike?
It is. It is, and it's getting worse. I tell people this every day. Unless we collectively decide what we're going to do and get on it, start getting it done, it's just going to get a whole lot worse in the next year. 2022 could be a pivotal year for good or bad. We will make that determination. We will decide. And I hope that those within the listening of our voice will decide to make 2022 the time to return to law and order and do something good. Let's get it done.
Well, the last time we were here, when we started talking law and order, the last time we were here was 1968 with Richard Nixon.
Right.
And I remember Nixon talking about law and order, and people are saying, well, this is a negatively affecting black folks. And I'm about 16, 17 years old, right? And I'm seeing for myself real time that the lawlessness, the riots are impacting my neighborhoods. They're impacting people who look like me. The white neighborhoods aren't being burned. The white neighborhoods aren't being rioted, just the black neighborhoods. And I'm going, why are you tearing up your own stuff? Why are you burning your own stores? Why? That was in 68, dude. So we got 78, 88, 98, 2008, over 50 years of the same madness, doing the same thing over and over and over again, thinking that 55 years of doing the same thing, Mike.
And to think that they still can't give you a good answer after 55 years. Why are you doing this to your own people?
Why are you doing this to your own community? After this last riot last summer in Chicago, I ran into a lot of people that were negatively impacted by the burning of what do you call those stores? Like Walmarts and not Walmarts, Walgreens and CVS's, the drugstores. Yeah, the drugstores. I guess they call them drugstores. I don't know.
Pharmacies, yes.
So but I was running into a lot of people who were taking care of their parents, and they were like, "Man, I can't go up to the corner pharmacy anymore and get her script. I got to go 2 or 3 miles, or I got to go downtown and get her script now because they burn out all of the Walgreens and the CVS's. And then you don't want to get out in these areas because you might get shot, or you might get hassled, or you might get carjacked. So you have all of this lawlessness going on, and it's all black on black crime.
Unfortunately, that's true. Very, very true. Very accurate.
But now, Mike, in Chicago, for instance, because I know Chicago, there's all of this crime that was going on in the black neighborhood. There's all of these things that were going on, the carjackings. The lady got beat on the north side. White lady gets beat on the street by 8 dudes. 8 dudes beat this old lady on the street. 8 men. Can you believe this? Now, this happens on the south side and west side, black areas, all the time. And I've always said this, and I should say this when I have my radio show there. If that happened to my mom or my grandmom, I'd hunt these people down and I'd shoot them. Because at the end of the day, and see, I coined a term. It's called urban terrorists. But I didn't coin that term. I didn't coin that term lightly, and I didn't coin that term lately. I coined that term back in 1994, dealing with the gang members and the criminals in the black community. I called them urban terrorists. Now they want to try to co-opt my word, call it domestic terror. Bullshit. These are urban terrorists. These domestically, you don't have these domestic terrorists in suburbs. You don't have these domestic terrorists in South Beach. They're urban terrorists. They're in Chicago. They're in Cleveland. They're in Detroit. They're in New York. They're in LA. They're urban terrorists, not domestic terrorists.
Domestic makes it sound like it's a maid service.
Yeah, yeah. But you see what I'm saying, Mike? How they
Yeah.
try to delude and confuse
They don't
the people.
look
Yeah.
what they are. And it's the same thing, Sue, that we talked about just a little while ago. It's accountability. You don't want somebody to be accountable for something that we use terms now to make it seem like it's insignificant when it's not. It's very significant. We have to use a term to call it like it is and demand accountability for it. And that's one of the key changes we have to make. And we have to start with our educational system as well, Charles. We can't ignore that aspect. We have for centuries pulled values and character out of the education system over the last half a century. And look at what we've got to show for it now. We have young people on the streets with no sense of respect or authority. I tell officers all the time, be careful on the streets, because I've seen it firsthand how many times an officer has come up to a vehicle full of young people and said, you know, do you know why I stopped you? And this is a true story. It happened in Georgia. Kid said, no, I don't really care, and pulled out a 45 and blew him away.
Damn.
That's the mindset that we have in this upcoming generation. We have to change things. We have to do it now.
Well,
I believe we can.
well, you know, Mike, right along that same line, that same venue, there was a young police officer. Her name was French. Now, you probably heard these two incidents.
I did.
Officer French was the officer, the female officer, that when the CPD broke into this woman's home, she was a social worker, broke into the wrong home, talking about it was a drug raid, implemented a no-knock search warrant, broke into her home, had her handcuffed, standing handcuffed naked while they ran through her home for 40 minutes. Officer French arrives on the scene and says, let me take this woman and get her some clothes. You taking away her dignity? You don't respect this woman? Would you have a white woman standing here butt naked while all these men running through here? The answer is no. But this is the mentality we have today. This happened last year. This didn't happen in 1819. This didn't happen in 1859. This happened in 2019, dude, or 2020. I think it happened last year. And so Officer French handcuffed this woman, let her get dressed to give her some dignity, man.
Right.
I mean, who would do this to another human being? Who are these men who are sworn to protect and serve, and they treat a woman like this, a woman who's not see, this is how white officers treat law-abiding black citizens. See, they have all the respect in the world for a black criminal, but a guy like me, they always try to disrespect me because they know that I'm not going to pose a threat. I'm not going to try to beat them or whatever, or shoot them or whatever. So they try to jump on me. See, I ain't taking that no more. See, when you start talking, and that's where I fault, and I've always faulted black ministers and these so-called black leaders, because I don't care about a black criminal. If you bump a criminal's head, put him in the car, if you rough him up a little, I don't care. He's a black criminal. 9 times out of 10, he's committed a crime against a black person who's been out here working hard trying to make it. I don't give a shit about a black criminal, not one iota.
I agree.
So, but a black man like me, they won't stand up for a black man like me. They don't care if I get hassled. They don't care if my civil rights are abused. You know, they talk about, he was turning his life around, a young man. I ain't got no respect for these Negroes, man. So bottom line, Officer French comes in and get this woman her clothes, it deals with this situation. Great lady. By all accounts, she was an outstanding officer. She's walking up to a car one night, traffic stop, with her partner. Guy gets out of the car and shoots her in the face.
Yep.
Wait a minute. The guy gets out of okay, so they tell you, don't get out of the car.
Right.
So what if she had been the kind of officer, boom, get back in the car, dude. she'd probably be alive today.
She would be
She
alive.
was, but she wasn't that kind of officer because she was a good officer. She was respecting, and she got her head blown
Respect.
off.
Yes, exactly.
And see, my heart goes out to her. My prayers go out to officers like that because it's these good officers who get shot, not the assholes.
I agree. You know, we just had an officer that just notified me this morning. Another two that were shot. One was killed last night. Female officer and her partner. Her partner's in critical condition. But the story was very, very similar. She was begging for her life at the
That
end.
happened too. That happened this weekend.
Yes.
That happened down in that was in a small town in not too far from Illinois by Kankakee, called Brendan or Bradley or something like Bradley, Illinois.
Bradley, Illinois.
She was pleading for her life, and
Correct.
this blew her head off. She said, "You don't have to do this." Yeah, I do, dude.
It's frightening what we have allowed to occur, and then to allow the pattern to continue as we started out this discussion, to send the message to the criminal element that we are backing away from enforcing the law, basically tells them they've won. And let me tell you, the criminal element is never satisfied. If they think they've won in point A, they'll go after point B. They're going to continue to expand and continue to destroy and ruin lives unless we do something about it.
Well, you know what I hope, and this is what I hope wholeheartedly. I hope that I'm looking at Attorney General Merrick Garland with his. I could understand. Why would this guy be a Supreme Court justice? He's corrupt.
Why would he be
he doesn't believe in the law. He believes in making up his own law. So why would he want to be a Supreme Court justice? Well, he's so nice. It's like Fauci. Fauci's not nice. He's a sinister bastard. This guy, Merrick Garland, sinister bastard. But we don't call these people out. I call them out for what they are. And I call them out based on their actions. I don't care that they're nice people. Oh, they're nice people. And I don't care about that. Why are you laughing, Mike?
Because you hit the nail on the head. You're exactly right. I'm tired of nice people. I want people that uphold the law
and do their job. And so Merrick Garland is giving updates now on the January 6th prosecute. They keep trying to act like this was an insurrection. The little invasion of the Capitol. Nobody tried to take over the Capitol. Nobody went in there with guns and rifles and tried to take over the government. It's an insurrection. That's an insurrection. They try to act like it's a banana republic. It's bullshit. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the media lying.
They're lying. They're trying to create a
What
narrative.
about Joe Biden? Let's talk about Hunter Biden's email laptop. Let's talk about Hunter Biden's screwing Melania Obama. Let's talk about Joe Biden's uncles and all the people that Joe Biden's made rich. Let's talk about Joe Biden's deal with China. Let's talk about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden doing a cobalt mine deal with China and these batteries and shit. And this guy comes in and he wants to shut down all of our fossil fuels overnight so we can go to batteries. When we go to batteries, they will not be based off of cobalt and lithium. I can tell you that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. I can't hear you. No, something's wrong. There you go.
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
They're telling me I've got another interview that's coming in at 3:00. So I need to pick up, and we'll look forward to the next one because you just rattled off a whole lot of other topics we can go over.
Of course. Hey, look, give out your website again, and we'll circle back next week, Mike, Monday.
It's Invest USA, INVEST USA.org. Go there and make sure that we help reclaim our country for law and order.
All
Charles,
right.
I appreciate you. I appreciate the job, the position you're taking. You're standing for truth.
You just went off again, Mike. Oops, you're gone. Okay, so we're gonna go over here and get a couple of things done. Little house cleaning. So we'll do a little commercial. We'll come back in the show.
This is Dan Perkins, co-host of Black and White, and this message is for the 200 million of you who have taken the COVID-19 shots. If you haven't taken the shot, don't waste your time. I'll get to you later. We need boosters because of the effectiveness of your original shot is deteriorating. The CDC tells us that you can get the Delta virus even with the original shot and perhaps even with the third. You have to decide to get the third shot. It's your call. Think about this right now. While you're listening to this message, about 6% of Americans that have the vaccine are getting sick. You could be next. The CDC believes a low immune system may be the cause. So even if you get the third shot, you need to protect yourself and strengthen your immune system immediately. I have a great all-natural way to do this. Go to blacksandwhites.us website and click on the CV Acute bottle to have it on hand. If you wake up with flu symptoms, take CV Acute 3 times a day for 3 days and you're done. Don't wait until you get sick to buy this great tested product. It could be too late. Buy it now. Have it on standby. Go to blacksandwhites.us and buy it now. Arm yourself to fight off this virus. Do it now.
Hi, this is Charles Butler, the host of the radio show, The Reality Check with Charles Butler. At Asset Benefits, we provide our clients with the rates and benefits from over 20 top-rated life insurance companies. We make you informed decision makers about final expense, mortgage protection, and securing your family's financial stability with the loss of a loved one. Hey, don't wait. Pick up the phone and call 312-667-9111 for your free quote and evaluation. So don't leave your family in a financial crisis because of a failure to plan for financial needs. Please call us for a free analysis and quote at 312-667-9111. Thank you.
Okay, we're back and we're going to wind up the show here. We're talking about Merrick Garland. And he's on television right now, and he's talking about the threats are permeating national life. Of course, they're permeating national life. It has nothing to do with the right. It's all about the left. You know, it always amazes me how they flip the script, not try to flip the script. They always flip the script when it comes to these leftists and their violent attack on the system and traditional institutions. Remember that the anti-war protesters actually were not peaceful protesters at all. They violently, I want to repeat, violently attacked the police, the National Guard, and whoever else was around when they were protesting. If you weren't with them, you were against them, and they tried to take you out. True story. So, where are we now? Merrick Garland claims that the January 6th insurrection, people were trying to overthrow the government. Nobody's trying to overthrow the government. They did what they tried to get Pence to do, what has always been part of the electoral system: decertify votes. Decertifying votes has been going on since this process began, since the election process began. See, most people don't understand the process. They never even knew that this session took place to accept the electoral college votes, because the people don't elect the president. The electoral college does. Hello, the people don't select the president. The electoral college does. So you have this thing going on all the time, and people just don't get it. They don't get it because they're not that smart. Just saying. Hey, look, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about what Merrick Garland talked about today. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a show tomorrow called Fox Soul about this time. So you can tune in there to Fox Soul. You'll see Charles Butler. So, hey, thank you again. We're going to roll on out of here and be back Friday. Thanks.